The Redbirds have opened the 1991-92 campaign with 3 of their first 4 games on the road and have recorded a 1-3 record. Tonight they return to the friendly confines of Redbird Arena to take on the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah. This season has marked the return of senior forward Scott Fowler, who missed all of last year with torn ligaments of his left knee. The senior team captain is back to his old self, averaging 23 points over ISU's last 2 games. Other returnees include senior forward Reggie Wilson and junior guard Richard Thomas. There are some new faces on the horizon as well. The junior college transfer Steve Fitch, Centralia product Chad Altadonna, and Vandalia native Brian Kerr. All have shown thus far that they too will be heard from. It's time to tip off the basketball season on telecable as Southern Utah's Thunderbirds battle the Illinois State Redbirds. College basketball down to 7. Cagle takes the jump shot. He got it! The three-pointer! The Redbirds lead it by 1. It's Southern Utah State, an opponent you played last year, and a relatively new ball club, I think, to fans around this part of the country.
Yeah, when they're from such a a different part of the country and not in a major conference, people don't know that much about them. They're one of the few independents left in the nation, and they bring a ball club in here that's very senior oriented. They have 7 returning players, so experience is a very big strength for them. They also play an extremely tough schedule. You know, they not only have to travel around their area to play, but they also come in order to get 28 games about anywhere they can go.
I remember, Bob, when I was covering ISU on a regular basis when the Redbirds were independent. And I think it toughens you up to a degree. You play in hostile environments constantly. You don't play many home games. And the good clubs all want to play you on their floor. So they're going to come in here pretty battle-tested, aren't they?
No question. They just got done playing Nebraska, who we saw them against in person. They did get to play them at home. But regardless, you're playing a team that was an NCAA tournament team last year. They have one of the returning leading three-point shooters in the nation, the big Yugoslavian player for him, and he's 6'8", and really a very, very good player. It's a team that is going to cause us all kinds of fits, and we're going to have to be very prepared.
Thunderbirds, their nickname. This is a program, I guess we can say, about at the same position ISU was a few years ago when they're trying to gain a little recognition as an independent, but you know they're pushing very hard. Every game's important to it.
Every game's important because that's the only way they can get into the tournament. They have to do it by record, you know, and they, of course, help with their strength of schedule because they do play a lot of quality teams. But, you know, we saw them a number of years ago, 3 years ago, when they were really struggling. And it looked like a team, hey, that's a good team. They'll come in twice to our place, and somebody that we can get early on in the season and maybe give us a test, but hopefully we can play against. And then what happens sometimes in scheduling, Art, is that in the meantime, they went out and got, I think, 4 junior college kids and had some kids coming back from missions because they have a majority of Mormon kids. And all of a sudden, from a team that was really struggling to win basketball games, they become very formidable.
Plus the fact Utah is one of the great basketball states in this country. I think there's more basketball played per number of citizens maybe in Utah than any state in the country.
Well, it's one of those states that so small populations, other than Salt Lake City, that you don't realize the number of players that play. And I think one of the things, too, that's interesting is all the Utah schools, universities, you know, they do recruit a lot of the Utah kids, and there are a majority of them Mormon. So you're playing against some older kids. You know, a lot of people talk about redshirting. Now, there's a natural 2-year red shirt that really helps them.
Let's talk about, to kind of wind this up, Bob, about the importance of winning here at Redbird Arena.
Well, the one thing that's been encouraging has been that through the exhibition games and the UIC game, we have played well at home. We've shot the ball better. We've played with more confidence, more enthusiasm. So I'm hoping that is a real positive step. We got to feel comfortable and confident when we're here at home, and we've seen that. Now, against Southern Utah, it's an interesting situation because we're going to start exams the following week. And how are we going to deal with knowing we go from playing to exams? Is that a distraction, or can we concentrate for those 40 minutes?
And let's hope you pass the exam tonight and make it 4 straight at home this year. We'll count the exhibitions.
We'll count the exhibitions, that's right.
Bob Bender, of course, and we'll be back with ISU in Southern Utah in just a moment.
One another very well. And and they've struggled with that in the preseason or the first part of the season. I think as they get more familiar with themselves, with each of their teammates, I think they're going to have a good basketball team.
I'm not real sure this team has an identity yet, as you see Bob Bender sitting on the ISU bench. I don't think Bob and his staff are totally settled on really what they want to do. They've had 5 different starting lineups in as many games, as you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, as we see Scott Fowler under there. But, boy, the arrival of this big guy has been a tremendous lift the last 2 games, 23 points in each of his last 2 outings, and that's got to be tremendously encouraging.
Well, Scott gives them a physical presence inside, and he gives strength inside is something that every basketball team needs.
Speaking of, not to interrupt you, Kyle, speaking of strength, there's Mike Vandegaard stretching on the floor here, and he has been a big factor as well with little offensive punch.
Right. Again, Mike's problem has been consistency, and I think in the last couple of ball games he started to put his game together a little bit. So we're looking for good games out of Scott and Mike both.
I'm going to start out by naming the officials, since I'm working with the veteran
Why would you
coach.
do that?
Well, I know you've always wanted me to do that. Mark Mano, Doug Fotian, and Tommy Smith. I know Tommy Smith myself. He's a former prep star at Kewanee and at Kansas. He was a great player for the Jayhawks and one of the officials working the ball game tonight.
He was a fine basketball player. I saw him play in high school as well.
So very, very shortly, we're going to have the introduction of the starting lineups. And so let's, for those introductions, turn to the young man who is the voice of Redbird Arena, has been ISU's basketball PA guy for a long time, Steve Adams. Let's join Steve right now.
Oksane. At forward, 6'7" from Zadar, Croatia, a senior, number 14, Davor Marsalic. At center, 6'11" from Milford, Utah, a junior, 42, Kerry Sherwood. At one of the guards, a 5'11" senior from Layton, Utah, number 10, Rod Dixon. And at the other guard, 6'3" from Dallas, a junior, number 24, Curtis Lloyd. Southern Utah's coach in his 5th season is Neil Roberts. And now, here is the lineup for your basketball Redbirds. At forward, 6'5" from Chicago South Shore, a senior, 42, Scott Fowler. At the other forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Newton, Massachusetts, number 21, Scott Taylor. In the middle for the Redbirds, 6'6" from Chicago Holy Trinity and Lincoln College, a senior, number 4, Reggie Wilson. At one of the guards, 6'2" from Quincy, Illinois, a sophomore, number 34, Todd Wemhainer. And at the other guard, 6 feet tall from Chicago Young, number 14 and a junior, Richard Thomas. And the Redbird coach in his 3rd season is Bob Bender.
There you have the introduction of the 2 starting lineups. Neil Roberts comes in, a graduate of Brigham Young in 1968, the coach at Southern Utah. In his 5th year, he has won 56 and lost 56. His club went 16-12 a year ago, and there you see Coach Roberts walking in front of the Southern Utah bench. They're on a rather extended Midwestern swing, Cal. They defeated Southeast Missouri 98-62 with relative ease. I believe that was Wednesday night, Wednesday or Thursday. They play, I think, Monday night at Evansville. So this is the middle game of that 3-game trip into the Midwest by the Thunderbirds, who are an independent but a Division I ball club and a team that is kind of quietly sneaking up on people. And like many, many clubs from Utah, the University of Utah State, people of that sort, pretty tough. Good basketball state.
They can play. I was going to say quickly about Steve Adams, the PA announcer. I went to high school with Steve, and he was a left-handed pitcher and couldn't break a pane of glass.
I didn't think you were that old.
And now, well, I was a freshman when he was a senior, and now he's also the IHSA announcer over at the Assembly Hall in Champaign, so he's come a long way with that voice.
Well,
glad he didn't have to make a living with his arm.
Terry Sherwood, who would like to make a living maybe playing basketball, jumping against Reggie Wilson. And the Redbirds control that opening jump. It's Todd Wimhaner on the right side as he's being swarmed on by number 10, Rod Dixon. Low to Reggie Wilson. Off this time to Richard Thomas. Rebound tipped by Scott Fowler near sideline. Scott Taylor tried to make the save for the Birds. Number 21 couldn't get to it in time, and the ball belongs to the Thunderbirds.
Good ball movement that time, and Richard had a good shot.
Number 30 is the young man who made the play from out of bounds. He's the guy that is the star for the Southern Utah team, Davor Marcelic. Marcelic is from Croatia. There's a soft left-handed jump shot by the fellow we were just talking about. Marcelic drills it, and it's 2-0. Southern Utah. They used to be Southern Utah State. Now it's Southern Utah University. Fowler drives the baseline. Pull up by Scott. So a couple of the big guns exchange quick buckets. Here's a collision, and they're going to call the blocking foul, apparently, against the Redbirds.
I was just watching.
Not too happy.
I was watching Coach Bender because he wanted to walk on it before the charge, and I think I was going to see what the official was going to do.
Well, they called a foul on Wimhaner.
Yes, and it was he shoveled his feet before he hit Todd, and I think that's the call Coach wanted.
Wimhaner with the steal, knocked around loose, picked off now by Richard Thomas on the drive. Todd Wimhaner made that happen as well, Cal.
Good defensive play. I don't think he liked the call either. As a result, he made a play defensively.
4-2 Redbirds as the Thunderbirds have possession. Marcelic goes inside and loses the basketball. ISU comes back with it quickly. The lob for Fowler intercepted, picked off here by Rod Dixon. He's out of Layton, Utah. Quick feed to Marcelic on the drive, in and out, and the rebound to Reggie Wilson. Birds go the other way. Tempo very quick here at the start. Scott Fowler off the glass, too hard, rebound Thomas.
Both teams going up and down the floor right now. Still trying to establish tempo in the ball game.
Rod Dixon is number 10 out front, being covered by Richard Thomas. Now they go low inside. Here's the fadeaway off the glass, no good. Taken by Dana Oxane. The Birds have it again. So far, the Thunderbirds getting this one shot. Low to Wilson. Wilson is hammered on the inside by Kerry Sherwood, 6'11", 217-pound junior out of Milford, Utah.
Reggie did a real good job of running the floor that time, and as Todd slowed the break up, Reggie was able to flash to the strong side block and get open.
We were talking in the pregame show with Bob Bender, Cal, and kind of tried to emphasize the point, and Bob concurred. This ISU team needs to be a dominant team on the floor here at Redbird Arena.
Right. I think you need to win at home.
They're going to struggle on the road. There's no question about that. Wilson at the line. Good look at Reggie.
You've got to be an experienced team to win on the road in the NCAA. You've also got to be an experienced team to win on the road in high school.
Wilson shooting only 61% at the line on the season thus far. Still early going, 14 of 23. He's only averaging 9 points a game. They need to get this big guy going. Free throw rolls out of there, and Kerry Sherwood, paper thin, 6'11" front liner down the floor to Marcelic, and he scores.
Marcelic gets up and down the floor. And he really has a nice touch on the basketball. He's gotten in the lane 3 times the last 3 possessions.
Here is Thomas. Thomas on the bounce pass off to Scott Taylor. Pull up, no good. Rebound, loose on the floor. I think Marcelic is actually the preferred pronunciation. Marcelic.
Number 14,
yeah.
how's that sound?
Here's Rod Dixon. Dixon works to Sherwood high as Scott Fowler moves on it. Marcelic now feeding down the baseline. Here's a left-handed pull-up. The shot was taken by Curtis Lloyd. Not the first time Lloyd has touched the ball. He's a 6'3" junior out of Dallas, Texas. Low to Reggie Wilson, all by himself. Inside, tries to come out with the pass, knocked away. Dixon stole it. Still loose on the floor and scrambled to the near sideline with the basketball for the Thunderbirds. Dana Oxane. Oxane down in the right corner as they go to Curtis Lloyd. They work low. The big man inside. Sherwood goes to the hoop, gets the ball out to Oxane on the drive, and we got a traveling violation.
Reggie had the ball inside in a low post position, and all he had to do was turn away from the defense, and he had a basket. But when you have a 6'11" player in the lane, it always makes you think.
Yeah, indeed. Sean Peterson is checking in now for Southern Utah. Peterson is 6'1", 160, a junior from Sandy, Utah. This is his first year as a varsity performer, a junior college transfer. Scored 3 points against the Redbirds last year as Southern Utah came in here and defeated ISU 77-61. Their leading scorer in that game has graduated, a young man by the name of Peter Johnson. Scott Taylor, kid from Newton, Mass, with a pull-up for the Redbirds. It's short, air ball, and the air ball is controlled underneath by Peterson as Peterson comes down the floor quickly from Dixon. They work it in low to Oxane. Oxane now right back out front. Marcelic. Marcelic return pass to Oxane inside. Off the glass, won't go. Nice rebound. Scott Fowler. Fowler to Richard Thomas. Thomas has had a couple of good ball games back-to-back. Goes to the glass, can't get it down. The rebound hauled down by Oxane. ISU's getting a lot of good shots, Cal, but not under great control.
Looks like ISU's really trying to push the ball hard up the floor, more than usual.
Rod Dixon
getting out of control just a little bit.
Rod Dixon ties it at 6 with that kind of finger roll layup. Battle of man-to-man defenses thus far on the right side. Todd Winhaner for ISU. Todd hasn't touched the ball much, except those couple of deflections led to a bucket. Inside to Fowler. Rebound wrestle for. They're going to call it a jump ball as Oxane comes off with Reggie Wilson. Chuck Barnes to check in the Redbird lineup now, number 54. Barnes 6'5", 185, a sophomore from Whitney Young in Chicago. Scott Taylor leaves. Taylor is a sophomore from Newton, Mass. This is still a very, very young Illinois State basketball team.
ISU is getting good shots each time down. They just seem to be rushing themselves just a little bit.
We're dead even at 6. Across is Rod Dixon. Art Kimball and Cal Hubbard with you. Marcelic on the pull-up. Davor Marcelic hails from Croatia. He has to have some concerns about his homeland.
Is that for around Mendota?
No. Rolling the shot up is Reggie Wilson on the inside, and the foul is called. And let's see how the foul is going to go on the inside. It is against the Thunderbirds. Kerry Sherwood picks up his second personal foul. This will put Reggie Wilson back at the line where he's 0 of 2. I was going to make the comment of a serious nature on Marcelic that his country, of course, he's Yugoslavian, actually from Croatia, and he has to be concerned about the world situation and the revolution going on over there right now. Not only a shame from the human standpoint, but from the athletic standpoint, a tremendous amount of basketball talent that has come out of Yugoslavia in recent years, Cal.
Yes, there really has. And a kid like that has got, what's going on over there has got to affect his play, but it sure doesn't seem to tonight.
The second throw is up and in. Reggie Wilson gets 1 out of 2.
Birds are doing a really good job of getting the ball in the low post, and they're able to draw some fouls.
Okay, we have an official timeout. It's an 8-7 ball game. The lead belongs to Southern Utah. We'll be back in just a moment. He was 8th in free throw shooting last year and 14th in the country field goal percentage. Marcelic shot the ball at a 49% clip at three-point range, Cal. That's very impressive.
Well, he seems to be in perpetual motion, and he seems to be moving toward the basket when he's shooting the ball, but it's so smooth and he has such a soft touch. He's going to be hard to stop, and I think one of the ways they're going to have to stop him is make him turn back. Instead of letting him turn to his left, make him turn back to his right and see if he can shoot the ball.
Yeah, he's very mobile. We haven't really seen him go to three-point range. There you see the Southern Utah bench. As talking with them over there is Neil Roberts. Neil, of course, out of a very, very strong basketball and football school, Brigham Young. Seems like every Utah program has a Brigham Young alumnus involved in coaching, so they not only have done a good job on the floor and on the playing field, but also as far as developing coaches concerned. So far in the ballgame, Illinois State is 3 of 9 from the field, the 333 mark. Southern Utah has gone 4 of 8. Turnovers, 3 for the Thunderbirds, 2 for the Redbirds here at this point. Ball inbound, ISU suddenly full court pressure. Mr. Hubbard?
Excellent move off in dead ball situation to change your defense. Good coaching strategy.
Peterson down the floor now to Rex Brimhall, number 40, out to Peterson, and he just drilled a 3. Sean Peterson, kid from Sandy, Utah, a senior veteran with a soft three-point jumper to make it 11-7, biggest lead enjoyed by Southern Utah.
Good job by ISU of applying pressure, but didn't do a real good job of getting in the defense in a half-court situation.
Whitmaner's bounce pass for Barnes. Barnes went one way, the pass went the other way. ISU turnover. And that is the third one for the Redbirds. They're down 4, 15-21 to go in the first half. I don't really recall last year's game as far as how it went, Cal. I think Southern Utah pulled away in the second half. As I recall, it was a pretty tight half. Marcelic down low, back out to Peterson. Here's Dixon on the drive to the hoop, pulls up, rolls it in. Rod Dixon, Layton, Utah youngster, 5'11", 175-pound senior. And the Birds find themselves down 6. And a blocking foul on the inside. This is what I think has concerned Bob Bender about as much as anything, to hit these little droughts. Right. They're droughts of intensity as much as anything, aren't they, Cal?
Well, our lack of concentration at times. You know, came down the floor, we're in full court pressure. We didn't get into our half-court defense. They hit a 3. Next time down the floor, they take the ball to the basket and get an easy shot.
Chuck Barnes on the perimeter off to Todd Wimhaner. Todd tries to penetrate. That basketball will go right back to the Redbirds. On the floor now for Southern Utah, number 34, Richard Barton. He's 6'9", 210, a junior from Cedar City, Utah. That's the location of Southern Utah. He played in only 5 games last year before being sidelined with a severe knee injury and averaged 29 points a game in those 5 games. So he's trying to come back. Shot was missed on the inside by the Birds. Down the floor come the Thunderbirds. All kinds of birds here tonight, red and thunder. Huh?
Yes. Again, Reggie had a good shot, or Scott had a good shot inside. It just didn't drop.
Brimhall. Brimhall works low to Barton, and we're going to have Scott Taylor. Nope, 3-second violation. 3 seconds on the big guy. Barton is an interesting story. I haven't had a chance to talk to any of the Southern Utah people about him, but here's a guy, first 5 games, I think it was last year, or maybe the year before, he averages 29 points a game. Then he obviously sits out much of a season, trying to make the comeback out here this year. Birds need a bucket. Todd Cagle is checked in the Redbird lineup, off on the right wing. Cagle low on the right side to Reggie Wilson as Wilson comes back out. Off this time to Cagle. Scott Fowler, pull up, free throw line extended, got it. 13-9 our score. There's the big guy, Barton, well out on the floor and away from the ball. Reggie Wilson, and the foul is going to be called on Rex Brimhall of Southern Utah.
He was trying to get position inside, was shoving on Reggie. Reggie stepped out of the way, and it was obvious.
Yep. Mike Vandegaard is going to come in now for Reggie Wilson. There's a good-looking Mr. Vandegaard as he walks back offensively. So up front right now for Illinois State, you're going to have Fowler when they get in position. Chuck Barnes and Vandegaard with Richard Thomas now playing the off guard and Todd Cagle playing the point. Here's Todd, kid from Normal Community. Bounce pass, no, nice feed to Fowler. Pretty play.
Good job of reading situations by Todd that time.
13-11. ISU back within 2. Marcelich feeds back out to Brimhall. Long bomb, Marcelich no good.
He was 2 steps off the 3-point line.
Yeah. ISU comes up with a loose ball. In the left corner to Chuck Barnes. Right side to Cagle. Here's Cagle, cross court, intercepted, knocked away, stolen by Peterson, down the floor to Dixon. On the fly, Rod Dixon lays it up and got it, and was fouled to play by Richard Thomas. Well, Dixon can push it, can't he? Foul on Richard Thomas is first.
Ball was deflected, turned into a easy basket opportunity at the opposite end.
Beautiful feed down here a moment ago on the play by Cagle to set up Scott Fowler.
Really was. I thought he was going to take the shot, a little ball fake, which I know he learned when he was at Normal Community because I saw him do it several times, and dumped the ball inside.
Dixon drills in the free throw. 16-11, and suddenly the Thunderbirds, after a little ISU run, are back on top by 5. Right side to Richard Thomas. Thomas really being hounded over there tough by Peterson. As for Vandegaard, can't find the handle, loses it out of bounds, and ISU getting careless now. They're down 5 at 16-11. Reggie Wilson's going to check in the ball game. Interesting alignment. They're playing Thomas down low, and then he's swinging out high. With Cagle definitely playing the point, Cal. Can you pick up what they're trying to do offensively?
They're trying to pound the ball inside, it looks to me like. Every time the ball is being swung, the ball is being entered into the low post. That time, Mike just wasn't ready for the pass.
Marcelich from long range misses it. Rebound, deflected. Cagle to Thomas to Barnes.
Excellent break by Richard. Really good decision. Pushed the ball hard and got the pass.
ISU now back within 3. Here's Peterson across. Marcelich thunders in. Little hook pass. Pretty play to Uxine. The basket's going to be good, and he was fouled on the play.
That was a walk in high school, Art.
Going to see that again. The last Redbird bucket, Cal.
Chuck Barnes did a good job of filling the outside lane, and Richard found him.
ISU's done a pretty good job of passing the basketball tonight, by and large.
We've had a few times where the receiver was not ready for the basketball, but the passes have been on the money.
Dana Uxine at the line.
Big Todd Cagle skies for the board.
Cagle clears the defensive board. Down the floor to Reggie Wilson. Had it, lost it, got it back.
Excellent pass
Cagle.
up the floor by Todd.
Yep. Here's Richard Thomas on the good penetration move to the glass. Got it, and he was fouled on the play.
It's the first time I've had a chance to see ISU. I've seen him in practice, but I haven't seen him in a game. And Richard looks so much more aggressive with the basketball this year.
This is what Thomas at the free throw line, trying to complete a three-point play. Richard already with a 6-point total, can make it 7 right here. Thomas on the season averaging 8.8 points a game. Guard play has been pretty good for the Birds so far tonight. Free throw shooting has been not even average. Rebound, loose. Brimhall had it, controls it, gets the ball off now to Dana Oxzane. Spells that name Achtzehen, pronounces it Oxzane. On the right wing, Rick Roberts, number 4, out there now for Southern Utah. Inside to Brimhall for the turnaround.
The thing that shows you that the guard play is so much better is we're getting a lot of easy shot opportunities inside.
20-15. Southern Utah leads by 5. Now the problem is defensing the other guy, right? Vandegaard to the hoop. Up and in. Mike Vandegaard averaging 6.5 a game. He scored a lot more than that recently. There's a pretty steal by Vandegaard.
Excellent. He saw the play coming and he stepped around in front and got the steal.
Chuck Barnes walks with it off the right wing. ISU's playing at a pretty quick tempo, and they're going to take a timeout. Actually, they are. It's an official timeout here at the Redbird Arena. The Birds trail it by 3 at 20-17. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Devotee of the running game, this has been a crowd pleaser, hasn't it?
Well, it really has. ISU's definitely concentrating on pushing the ball up the floor, and they've forced some things to happen because of it. It's a lot more exciting brand of basketball than they were able to play last year. So hopefully they'll keep getting results out of their running game or out of their transition game.
Doug Votavian, Mark Mano, and Tommy Smith are officials here tonight.
How many times are you going to say that? Art?
Well, I wanted to make sure I could pronounce Votavian.
Oh, okay.
Really because I'm having a heck of a time with Marsalich or Marsalich. I blew it again. Oxzane. So 20-17.
By the time we figure it out, I think the game will be over.
I guess it really doesn't matter. All that matters is whether or not you can contain Marsalich.
Well, I don't think his mom's listening.
No, probably not. Illinois State is shooting well now, 8 of 16 from the field. Southern Utah is 9 of 15, 60%. Just as you say that, I'll get a letter.
Well, I don't think you're beaming to Croatia, are you?
No, turnovers, 6-5. ISU has the 6. Rebounding, edge to the Redbirds, 11-8 here in the early going. Brimhall, big, strong-looking guy, holds it off on the left wing. They look to Oxzane inside. He has the ball stripped. Nice job.
Excellent strip by Todd Wimhaner.
Wimhaner got a hand back there, and so really the Redbirds right now going with only 2 guards. They have run that 3-guard system a few times. Not necessarily tonight, but earlier in the campaign. Scott Taylor to Wimhaner. Here's Todd, the kid from Quincy. Bounce pass, knocked away. Good defensive job by Rex Brimhall from behind. He's out of Layton, Utah, 6'6", 220-pound senior. Nice block by Vandegaard at the defensive end. Birds down 3. Pass intercepted. Marsalich with the basketball. He feeds off behind the back pass. A whistle, and Marsalich is going to be whistled for the foul. Little Finch pastry there, and made a little contact in the process.
ISU is really playing aggressively on the defensive end, and I think that's why they're getting so many break opportunities. You can just see the kids' eyes. They're anticipating where the passes are going. They're doing a good job of batting the ball away. The kids driving the lane out of control, and we're in position to take the charge. I think defensively our presence is much better.
Number 44, Ken Jackson, has come in the ball game, replacing Dana Oxzane for Southern Utah, and immediately he's called for a reach-in foul. Ken Jackson, another big kid at 6'10", 200-pound senior from Sanford, Colorado. Played at Ricks Junior College. Played against the Redbirds here last year. Scored a field goal. Scott Fowler back in. Leading is Mike Vandegaard. 20-17 score.
Mike did a really good job filling in and giving Scott a breather. He did a nice job on the defensive end. Got a block shot and made a nice move for a basket.
That's
the kind of bench play that ISU
He's not only improved offensively, he's improved a lot defensively.
Yes. A lot more alert on the defensive end. But again, the best thing about a freshman is he becomes a sophomore.
20 of 27, the story at the line for Fowler, but unfortunately that wasn't Fowler at the line. It was Reggie Wilson, who is now 1 for 5 tonight as he misses it. Ball deflected out of bounds. Illinois State lineup. Cagle leaves as Richard Thomas comes back in. Thomas, Fowler, Scott Taylor, Wimhaner on the floor, along with Reggie Wilson. Marsalich from the corner. Long bomb. Dips in and out for the lefty. Rebound hauled down. Controlled by Reggie Wilson.
I feel like he was still out of bounds when he got the ball back.
Well, he's got some range, hasn't he? Marsalich is 6'7", 190-pounder. Slender kid, but never saw a three-point he didn't like. They worked to Scott Taylor. Taylor to Wimhainer. Wimhainer off to Barnes. Not Barnes, I should say Thomas. And Richard rings the bell. The other night, Cal, you'll love this as a coach. Sauk Valley was playing IVCC up in Oglesby and tried 51 three-pointers.
That's a lot of threes. That's raining threes.
Marsalich inside with his fourth field goal.
He's really smooth. He reminds me the way he plays of a kid that used to play at ISU named Jerry McGreal.
He's tough. Marsalich with the rebound.
He's a little taller than McGreal, but his style is similar.
Ball stolen at the defensive end as Brimhall has problems with it. The Redbirds come back the other way. 22-19, they trail it. Todd Wimhainer, sophomore out of Quincy, played for Jerry Leggett down there in the Blue Devil program. Leggett, of course, now at Moline.
Jerry
coach
who?
Lauren, Jerry Who. There is Richard Who. The Who is Richard Thomas. He drove in his fifth field goal. 22-21. Birds back within a point. And Scott Taylor, a bit too aggressive with Mr. Brimhall, picks up the personal foul.
Scott didn't see the pass until it was too late. He had his back turned to the basket. He tried to recover in time to keep there from being a layup.
ISU's substitution patterns are not as massive as they were earlier, and there's just a group of about 8. He's substituting,
Right.
bringing about 3 people in, isn't he?
He's bringing in a guard sub, a wing sub, and a post sub. And
There's Neil Roberts on your screen, the Southern Utah coach. Oxane back out there for Southern Utah. Figure they bring him back in. All the tough names to pronounce. Play a lot.
I think they ought to have to sit out in the Midwest.
Yeah. Curtis Lloyd. Lloyd gets the ball to Rex Brimhall. Holds it high to Peterson. Back off to Lloyd. Lloyd looking down low. Well, Marsalich is out of there, at least for right now, and the Birds come up with a steal. With the basketball is Vandegaard. Vandegaard down to Wimhainer. Wimhainer on the drive to Scott Fowler. Misses it. Skying for the board is Curtis Lloyd. Knocked out of bounds, and not quite out of bounds. Rick Roberts was there to make the save for the Thunderbirds. He feeds it off to Brimhall. Rex thunders in against Vandegaard, and they're going to call him for the offensive foul.
And Kiwani is heard from.
Tommy Smith blew the whistle. 22-21. That's the way Tommy used to drive the baseline, just like that.
Well, that was an excellent acting job by Mike Vandegaard that was able to draw that foul because there was hardly any contact. But again, he was loud and they heard him.
That's experience. Big guy out there once again for Southern Utah. One of 3 big ones. This is 6'9", Richard Barton. Todd Wimhainer. Wimhainer low to Fowler. Fowler goes to the hoop, and he was fouled in the play. Scott discussed it with himself. You can maybe see the expression on his face there. He thought he should have stuck that one in the hole.
That was a really good job of posting up, getting the ball, pivoting in the lane. And he just thought he should add the 3-point play.
Barton picks up the personal foul. It's number 1 for him. He's the kid we mentioned coming back off of a knee injury after rather severe surgery. There you see Scott Fowler. There you see his statistics. Pretty good free throw shooter so far, 74%.
It used to be that cruciate ligament, when you had a cruciate ligament go, you were done. And Scott, through the help of Dr. Tony Dustman, I know, has come back from a very severe knee injury. And since that's the same knee injury I had that ended my career, I guess I can say that it's really nice to see what modern science has done.
There's a second throw, and he has given Illinois State the lead, 23-22. We have an official timeout. By the way, our halftime guest will be Scott Fowler on our player profile. We'll talk a little bit about that rehabilitation. So the Redbirds, with 7:51 to go in the half, have come from behind to take a... Well, let's hope Illinois State can continue to play the way they're playing. Thus far, a pretty good first half for ISU. Sooner or later, somebody's going to have to put down the screws defensively in this ball game, however. And both teams are getting incredibly good shots. I think the shooting percentages certainly are going to indicate that.
I think ISU's picked up their defensive intensity in the last 10 minutes, though. I think ISU's doing a much better job on number 14.
Thanks a lot.
Who looks like Jerry McGreal. How's that?
Marsalich.
Okay, Marsalich.
Ball is inbounded now by, not by Marsalich, inbounded by Richard Barton. Double team. Peterson is picked up in the defensive zone as the Birds pressure now. Trapping type of zone press is not really bothering this club a great deal, but it is delaying their offense a bit.
It keeps them from getting into their offense in the same spots that they would get into the offense. That's what pressure defense is all about.
Oxane slams in, and
Mike went down hard on
Mike Vandegaard really went down. Fowler's down as well. Oxane got the field goal. Well, both of them are up. Apparently none the worse for wear. At the 7:51 mark, here are the statistical reports. ISU from the field was 10 of 20 for 50%. 3 of 8 at the line. Southern Utah was 10 of 19, 1 of 2 at the line. Rebounding, ISU at the edge of 13-11. Southern Utah turned it over 10 times. The Redbirds 8 times. Pretty backdoor feed. Picked off by Vandegaard.
Good alert play by Mike to see the loose ball. But it was a good back cut and feed that set it all up.
Scott Taylor had the handle and couldn't put the lock on the ball. Unfortunately, Vandegaard was there, and ISU leads it by a point. Southern Utah throws it away. Pass from out front by Rick Roberts got away. Going to see the last ISU bucket.
I think Coach Roberts decided that he didn't like that back cut feed.
Ball is knocked away. Oxane steals it, and here's the traveling violation. Peterson grabbed the basketball, and I thought really called the traveling call on Oxane, but Peterson thought it was on him.
You really got to be
there you
ball
see
tough.
Peterson. He's not real happy, is he?
No. You really got to be ball tough, and Mike wasn't really ball tough that time at the top of the circle.
Here's Todd Wimhainer right in front of our broadcasting position. Wimhainer looking. Gets the pass in to Richard Thomas. Looks like these two guys have settled in as the regular guards, at least at this point in the season. Wimhainer and Thomas. Vandegaard down low, and Mike gets another one.
I think Todd's doing a real good job of matching up on the toughest, having the toughest defensive assignment. And as he gets his feet wet, he's learning, he's giving more and more offensive support.
I think ISU has just equaled his biggest lead. I think they led 4-1. They lead 27-24. Wimhainer with the steal and the solo. Can't get it. Scott Taylor on the rebound over the back of a leaping Sky and Curtis Lloyd. Foul number 2 on Taylor. Boy, did Lloyd get in the air on that rebound.
Todd did a really good job defensively of stripping Marcellus. And as a result, had a breakaway, but just could not convert. A real good defensive effort.
Good ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is a fun game.
27.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, glad you're here, even if you are giving me a little trouble. But that's normal.
If I didn't, Art, you wouldn't know what
I'd miss you. Curtis, where were you in the football season when it was 20 degrees out? On the drive.
I'm smarter than that, Art. I'm a lot smarter than that.
Off the glass and in by Richard Barton.
They play that outside, don't they?
Indeed they do. You got that right. And now bodies go flying in the right corner of the offensive zone of Illinois State, and a foul's been whistled on Curtis Lloyd. He may be the most athletic guy on the floor. Lloyd is 6'3", a powerfully built 190-pound junior out of Dallas, Texas. Dallas Skyline High School, Northeast Junior College. Playing his first year for Southern Utah.
Mike Vandegaard set a down pick for Richard, and 24 decided he was going to run through it.
And over it.
And did. It was a nice block.
Vandegaard shooting a pair. There's the figures on Michael for the year. Big sophomore from Bloomington, Minnesota.
You know, the thing about this team, Art, they seem so much closer together than last year's team. You can just see little things, like congratulating each other, saying, hey, it was my fault. You just see a lot more confidence in this year's team than last year's team on the floor.
Well, I guess that's kind of predictable, really, because they had to retool so much. They had so few veterans remaining last year.
Right.
Here's Richard Thomas called, and they were just getting to know each other.
And I think not having Scott Fowler really hurt. He gives them stability. I think it's really good to have him back on the floor. That
particularly became noticeable the last 2 ball games. His performance, admittedly in losses, but his effort at Loyola and at Butler, both great Fowler performances.
Well, he was feeling himself out the first couple of games because he hadn't been in a competition for a year, and I think since then he's really started turning it on.
Dana Oxane with the bucket, and the feed, you may have noted, came from one of the big guys out there, Richard Barton, 6'10" athlete, fired the ball inside.
Antoine Hicks is now at point.
28-28, rebound.
Good
Vandegaard after the miss.
Mike Vandegaard has gotten good position on the boards 3 different times and converted them into baskets.
Birds lead it by 2, 30-28. Couple of follow-ups by Vandegaard in a row. Mike knocks the ball out of bounds. Good defensive effort.
Excellent. He went down to the other end and played defense, and that's what growing up and becoming a player is all about.
Southern Utah now has Barton in there at center, and he's the kid that they hope will come back from the injury, much like Fowler at ISU. Marsalic makes the inbounds pass. Here's Barton going down on the floor, knocked away by Reggie Wilson to Wimhater. Out on the break against Lloyd. Low to Reggie. Reggie inside. Won't go. Great rebound. Hauled down by Oxane on the defensive iron. No shrinking violets, these Thunderbirds. They will bang on the boards with you.
Yeah, there are some bodies flying in there.
Marsalic on the perimeter. Vandegaard, who has just completely dominated for about the last 4 minutes.
He really has played well.
Antoine Hicks, product of Chicago St. Rita. Senior veteran Vandegaard,
Excellent
backdoor
back
Wimhater.
Good back cut by Todd, and Mike saw it.
ISU by 4 at 32-28. And did Southern Utah step in? No, I guess not. But they might have stepped in from out of bounds, but Redbirds want to continue the pressure. That's worked out pretty well for them.
Coach Bender's doing an excellent job of getting brief minutes of rest for his starters and getting them back in the ball game and using his bench personnel, and he's getting good play off his bench, and it's making a lot of difference in the ball game.
And the game is played at a very rugged tempo. Hicks to Barnes. Here's Chucks trying to slide it off the left wing. Kid from Chicago, Whitney Young, passes off to Reggie Wilson. Wilson not ready for the pass, lost the basketball. Over the timeline is Rod Dixon, number 10. He works through number 44. That's Ken Jackson, big center. They go right back to Dixon, back to Jackson. Jackson walked.
I even made that call.
Yeah, that wasn't too tough. You and Doug Votarian.
Well, I made about 3 or 4 last night, but they didn't hear me then, I guess.
I think it's the black shoes.
Yeah, I think so.
Cal, for those of you who are not familiar with Mr. Hubbard's occupation, he is the head basketball coach at University High School, and off to kind of a tough start, but
we'll be all right. We got good kids, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
It's not easier to win on the road in high school than it is in college, is it?
It's not easy to win anywhere right now.
Antoine Hicks for the Redbirds. Cross court skip pass over what is now his own defense. Here's Cagle. Yeah, is it his own? You're my defensive expert. Help me out here.
I thought you were always calling matchup. It's man-to-man.
Here's the jumper by Barnes. Hung up a little shy. In fact, about a 15-footer, got it 13 feet.
Didn't have enough club.
Absolutely not. Should have gone to the 4-iron. Right side. Marsalic back on the perimeter to Brimhall. Spins out on him. I thought that was going to go back in. Nice rebound by Fowler. Antoine Hicks across. 3:40 to go in the half. 32-28. Illinois State on the lead by 4. Lead pass for Reggie Wilson. Intercepted but lost by Dana Oxane on the base. I'm going to go in the half. I certainly hope they break that.
Let's hope we do that.
VCU is a pretty good basketball team. The Redbirds lost big by 26 out there. But Virginia Commonwealth figures to be very, very good against a lot of people. Then ISU defeated Illinois Chicago here, 72-64. Lost at Loyola, 71-58. And in a marathon game at Butler earlier this week at 93-85 on Thursday night. By marathon, I mean it lasted forever.
Sonny Smith at VCU usually gets pretty good athletes.
And he's a pretty good coach as well.
Like Charles Barkley, I think he's not too bad.
Yeah, he's not shabby.
Yeah, they've had some good players where he's coached.
Redbirds with the basketball. Here's Scott Fowler. Fowler outside the three-point arc. Shot clock certainly has not come into play. We haven't even mentioned it. Todd Cagle being covered by Peterson. Inside to Fowler for the turnaround. Scott can't get it. Gets the board. Let's see what happens. And they're going to call Scott over the back on the rebound. I was afraid of that. Shooting at this point in the ball game, Illinois State shooting .452 on 14 of 31. Southern Utah 13 of 24, 442. That's pretty good on the road. You come into somebody else's building and shoot over 54%.
Yes.
Rebounding just about dead even, Cal. 16-15, the edge to ISU. Turnovers, Southern Utah has been forced into 16 to 10 for Illinois State. That's encouraging.
Yeah, I think ISU's doing a really good job of forcing many of those turnovers.
Marsalic at the line, 1-1. His club down 4.
It's a unique free throwing style. I don't think that's the way Coach Metcalf teaches it.
No, but it goes in. Metcalf teaches them they go in too, as far as that's concerned. Marsalich is his third year as a varsity player. He scored 43 points in the season's finale against Cal State Northridge last season. Second throw. I can see where he could have a 43-point night. He already has a 10 right here. 32-30. Illinois State lead paired to a pair. Wimhainer to Hicks. Wimhainer now penetrates. Nice feed to Reggie.
Yes.
Nice play.
Really good job of getting the ball in the lane. Once an offensive player can get the ball in the lane and make something happen.
Best penetration I've seen by ISU's guards in a couple of years. Marsalich at long range can't get it to take the roll for him. On the rebound, Oxane.
Had two Southern Utah players at the same time with the ball. Should have been a walk.
Lloyd pulls it up, misses it. Marsalich with the rebound. Got it. 34-32. 2-point lead now to Illinois State. Wimhainer to Scott Fowler. Fowler off the glass.
Scott really uses the backboard well. I mean, he really has a nice touch off the board. You'd love to see a big man use the backboard.
He has a 10-point first half. Vandegaard has 9 in the first half, and Richard Thomas has 10. And there is Oxane going in for an easy layup for his 8-point. 36-34. Nobody can run away and hide in this one, can they, Kel?
I don't think so. This should be a good ball game all the way. Good
Fowler,
pass.
low to Reggie Wilson. Off
Good
the glass.
pass inside by Scott. Good lob. Reggie went up and got the ball.
Well, Birds play like this the rest of the season. The fans will love it. Peterson on the dribble drive with the left-hand layup. They don't like that defense because Peterson, the floodgates just opened for him. He pulls Southern Utah back within 2 at 38-36.
Last two possessions, Southern Utah has caught ISU in bad defensive position. One for a back cut and one for a post-up shot.
This is ISU's biggest scoring half of the year with 38 points on the board right now. Cross court to Antoine Hicks to Todd Cagle. Cagle being challenged out front by Sean Peterson. Here's Cagle, sails inside, gets the ball to Reggie. Reggie is fouled. The ball was on the deck. They call Lloyd or Oxane for the reach-in. Could have been either one of them in the middle there. Now the foul goes to Rod Dixon. Dixon, not Lloyd. Lloyd's number 24, Dixon number 10. And checking back in is going to be Rick Roberts as Reggie Wilson goes to the line where he has really struggled tonight. He's 1 out of 5. Reminder, Tuesday night we'll have both games of the Intercity Tournament for you. Actually, it'll be on Wednesday night, the final night of action, which will be played Tuesday. The tournament resumes on Monday night. Free throw is up and in by Reggie Wilson. Now if I had it completely confused, 39-36. Talk about that before the evening's over a little bit. Reggie nails it. Birds lead by 3. Second throw, outer iron, no good. Rebound, Rex Brimhall.
I was trying to relax and enjoy this game. You're going to bring something like that up?
Oh, yeah, I got to bring it up. 39-36, 3-point lead, approaching the 1-minute mark. They're looking for Marsalich, and they lob the ball cross court. Retrieved over here by Oxane. Oxane's out of Scottsdale, Arizona, Mesa Community College. Marsalich now has it. Gets the ball to Brimhall. Nice feed, and he rattles it up and in. Mr. Marsalich with a great assist. 39-38, Illinois State. Shot clock goes off. We're down to 34 seconds in the half.
Good shot going with a lead by 1 or by 3.
Todd Wimhainer. Marsalich moves out on him. Marsalich, of course, at 6'7", and Wimhainer at 6'2". Interesting matchup. Low to Fowler, and as happens so often with this ball club, when they have to play for the one shot, they turn it over, and that's exactly what they did there.
Well, they made their move at 15 seconds. I think it was a little quick.
Bringing the ball up is Rick Roberts, and of course, Southern Utah shooting for the lead now. Peterson reverses on the baseline and got it. Sean Peterson. 1 second to go in the half. Cagle cuts it loose, misfires, and that's it at halftime.